Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Paul's Monday Market Update number 223 for Monday, 27th of April, 2026. Hope you're all well. Hope you've had a good weekend. Hope you're ready for another eventful week in markets. It really has been quite some year, hasn't it, so far? Anyway, you're very welcome here. If you're joining us for the first time, the Monday Market Update is just that. It is me flying through as much as I can share with you in the next 30 minutes, taking a look at strength and weakness within FX indices and commodities markets, looking at some charts of interest, okay, that you might want to add to your watch list, and then a look at the live markets. It is not a signal service. It's not trade recommendations. It is just me sharing with you what I'm looking at the moment, which might be of relevance or of interest to yourselves. As always, you're very welcome here, but just remember that you're always responsible for your own trading and investing decisions. And if you're looking for a little bit of help and support with your own trading journey, and you could do with a little bit of discipline, accountability, and consistency, well, you can join the VTP tag group, the Trader Accountability Group. There's a bit.ly code there or a QR code there, or you can ping me if you want a little bit more insight into that. Here we go. Let's have a look at the STEM indices. What have I got here? Dow on the weekly, NASDAQ on the weekly, S&P 500 on the weekly, Russell on the weekly, FTSE on the weekly, Nikkei on the weekly, DAX, and then oil on the weekly. Okay, we know we just looked at Chevron, etc. Oil still is beneath $100. Okay, and I think if we do get more, let's say more talk about extending the ceasefire, I would expect that to sort of drift oil lower. But what we're interested in is despite another assassination attempt on President Trump at the weekend and the sort of ongoing shenanigans in the Middle East and a whole host of other things, we still have managed on NASDAQ, on S&P, and on the Russell to basically still to push and to close at new weekly all-time highs. And the same with the Nikkei as well. Okay, the Nikkei has done that as well. That's the fascinating thing about these markets is that to be able to see what's been going on, to see all of the kind of geopolitical shenanigans that are happening. But even in that time, you can see that kind of war off, risk on, peace trade has just pumped those equities and those indexes to, as I said, to new all-time highs. The Dow has been tickling the soft underbelly of 50,000 again. Okay, is yet to close its way higher there. If we look at a little bit closer to home, what we've got with the DAX is the DAX printed. Once again, it's another inside bar, spinning top, a little bit of indecision there. Okay, we're above the 50, but as you can see, in this way that the American indexes, okay, most of them have pushed to new highs. That has not happened with DAX. Yep, it's had a big rally. It's back up above the 50 and a little bit above the 20, but it hasn't had that kind of the leap that we have seen in those American indices. And the same close to home with FTSE. Okay, having been in a great trend, we printed that bearish key reversal there, big bearish engulfing, fell away, pushed up, but we couldn't form a new high, could we? We've kind of worked our way down a little bit lower there. And as I said, we've got political shenanigans here in the UK. We've got mixed economic news and data, okay? And then, of course, there is the sort of look at and the view from the Bank of England in terms of what direction are they likely to be taking with the rates. Are they going to hike or are they going to cut? Okay, so the FTSE has certainly not been able to follow through there. If we look at one or two of the other commodities, gold, well, interestingly, once again, last week, what was it? Another inside bar, as I said, bit of an indecision. You might say it's a bearish inside bar, but there's good sized wicks to either side. I'd be saying that's a little bit of a spinning top, bit of indecision. Everybody's kind of just waiting to see what happens this week. You go down to that daily chart, you've got the 20 beneath, the 50 above. And if you really look for the last few weeks, it's kind of mostly just been kind of going sideways there on gold. Has nothing really terribly exciting if you are looking to be let's say a sort of a swing trader in gold. Silver had been interesting because silver had pushed its way up above 50, but once again, what was last week's candle? Inside bar, bearish, but a little bit of indecision going on there. If I go down to the daily chart, yeah, we got up above 80 and we were there with the 80 and the 50, but we've come back down and price is squeezed there between the 20, between the 50, a little bit of indecision on Friday. You hear me say it all the time. When price and the moving averages all come together, it's like it's the calm before the storm. It's like trying to push two north ends of magnets together. They kind of basically push themselves apart, and that's what we're seeing there. I think in that silver and gold and a few, oil and a few of the others. As I said, there's an awful lot of indecision, an awful lot of people just holding fire until they get some clarity on what the next move is. Before we look at dollar, okay, Bitcoin in the weekly, we talked about it, how we thought we're building a little bit of a base, a little bit of kind of coiling up, bit of a symmetrical triangle, and we've pushed our way a little bit higher over the last couple of weeks. You can see that on the daily chart working its way up there. Personally, all right, I'd be saying, I want to see it up above 80, up towards the daily 200. That's, that just gives us that indication of that. But I think some of that is also to do with risk sentiment and also the sort of the dollar itself.